God, I wondered when that was going to stop.
Oh no! I told you it's the 3 hour. It's the 3 hour running. Right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simply Spooky. Welcome to another show. And we got a show for you this evening. It's one of those shows that can go in any direction, end up anywhere, and it probably will, in all honesty. This evening we've got the Dark Mirror Boys. We have got Mr. Mark Manley and Mr. Wayne Seedham. Now we love having these guys on because, as I say, the show could end up going in all different directions. And a lot of directions that we wouldn't anticipate it going. But let's just bear with us and enjoy it. Now, another thing I'd like to ask for you guys out there that are in the chat. Hello, everybody. Hello, Chantel. Hello, Belle. Good to see you all. I would like you, if you could, to share this show out for us, please. Liv's very busy at the moment. She's doing her best to share. But it would be fantastic if you guys could do us a favour and share this show out. So without further ado, before we start, I'd like to say, hello, Chantel. Yes, look at you first in line. You were there before us, Chantel. That is very good. Even though we're running late, I'm still impressed with that. Hi, you Belle. Hi, you Eric. Hi, you Bri. And hi, you Christine. Right. So this evening we're going to talk about anything and everything. Mark, how are you?
Yes.
Is it as good as that? It's good. I told you. Go anywhere with this guy.
I'm absolutely fine. We loved it on Saturday.
You're good. Excellent, excellent. How about you, Wayne? Are you doing well? You can just about make Wayne out.
I feel 100%. I feel brilliant after last weekend.
Oh, yes, you had a very good event last weekend, didn't you? I was there in spirit, but sadly, and alas, not
you weren't. You were not. You did not come across the spirit box or whistle or stamp.
I did. I did, though. I tapped you on the shoulder at least 3 times.
So, no, you weren't.
I tapped you on the shoulder. I enjoyed my spectral chips with the rest of you. That was a good evening, all said and done.
Spectral chips.
Spectral chips.
Spectral chips in a spooky pickle.
Exactly. I couldn't have physical, could I? So I had to have spectral. I was there in spirit.
Sam, we don't want to know about your sexual pickle. We really don't.
The spirit is willing, but my lord, the body is weak.
Yes, but he has seen
you guys.
He has seen Willie. You know, I bought that Willie.
Yes, you did bring up bought Willie.
Where did I put Willie?
Rub the magic Willie, Viv. See what comes up. And that was one you got last week, wasn't it? At the at the Christmas party.
Is that a bong?
A what?
Looks like a bong.
A bong.
It looks like a bong.
That's not a bong, is it, Viv? Now you mention it, it does look very much like a bong.
It's a bong. It really is.
Right.
It's supposed to be a twig.
I've just got to pop off for a second, guys. All right.
Okay.
No, you crack on, Wayne. You crack on.
Try not to kill everybody, okay?
And if you're really lucky, I'll let you blow my whistle.
You can play with my bone. Anybody wants to play with my bone in the chat? You're more than welcome.
I love you, Dan, but I'll pass on that.
Anybody wants to blow my bone? You're more than welcome.
Even the cat's
right
in the bone.
What the fuck?
I bet he gets a better tune out of it than you did.
He has a good sniff. I can't sniff it because I heave.
That might be the trick. The trick might be sniff all in the sniff and not in blow. You never know. Hi, you Annette. I hope you're doing well there. Good evening, Eric, young man. So, Manic Willie's exactly, Eric. Exactly. Imagine. This evening he is working, I think, Chantel.
Where's Wee Pecker? He's just got out of the car. I'll be back in a minute.
He'll be back shortly. So what do you guys want to talk about this evening? Obviously, you've got a lot more to talk about than I have because I wasn't party to the party, so to speak, last weekend. So what went on?
This and that.
Wow, what an exciting evening you guys had.
That was all right, actually. It was all right. It was
we did Secret Santa, didn't we? We did Dan's horrible Secret Santa Lucky Dip.
We did Secret Santa, yes.
What did you get in your Secret Santa Lucky Dip?
What's that? Like sweets or something?
Jelly beans.
Oh, nice.
And there was 2 smelly candles, and there was a Christmas cobweb with a spider on it.
Oh, that's all right.
Which my
that's not bad.
What
did you get, Viv?
I didn't get anything.
Terrible.
Because I was being Dan, doing the Secret Santa horribly.
Like,
you were, yeah. Or Danta, as we call it now. Not Santa, it's Danta from now on.
Danta.
I'll allow you to call yourself Danta, but I really don't want to hear about you emptying Danta's sack. Okay? No.
Chantel says, well, we've already covered bangs, bones, and blowing, so.
What about slippery things? Because we had fish and chips with. They didn't give us curry sauce, but they gave us gravy
They
instead.
did give you curry
Of course
sauce.
they give you gravy. That's what you should have.
all mixed up. Because I had
Was it?
gravy and Rachel had curry sauce, and she went, oh, "This is curry sauce."
Oh, weird.
Just point it towards me, but don't touch the screen because you'll take me
It's
off.
got to be gravy. It's got to be. I know it's a northern thing, but it's got to be gravy with fish and chips and stuff like that, as far as I'm concerned.
I do like curry sauce. Hello, Richard.
You can't have gravy with fish and chips.
No, it's still not right.
It is if you're a northerner. Hiya, Nicola. Hope you're doing well.
Excuse me, I live in Yorkshire. Don't let the accent fool you, old bean.
Even though you do come from yonder Essex.
I come from London and Somerset. Yes.
You do indeed.
So,
Legs come from Somerset and the top half comes from Yorkshire.
I was born in Essex, but my blood's in Yorkshire.
yes.
Yes.
Originally
Same here.
from Cheshire.
Very.
Born in
Oh,
Hong Kong,
posh.
moved back over here, and I was brought up in Cheshire, and then moved.
Cheshire, very. The posh part of
Very
North.
posh,
The
yeah.
North.
Shit, it wasn't posh where we lived, I tell you.
And they-
Simply in Sale.
I'm from Chiswick, London. Chiswick, W4. Is it W4?
Yeah, I think it
We
is,
know,
isn't it?
we know. You said you fucking toilet for my missus. So, yeah.
You.
I'm from Enfield, North London, but my heart is in Yorkshire.
You fucking toilet and all that caper, innit?
You're not my
Dan, your heart.
Move it up!
Dan,
mum! Oh, Ricky!
so Dan, your heart's in Yorkshire. Is that because you're still waiting for that transplant to come down?
I am still waiting for that transplant. The doctor said you can have your transplant. I said, look stupid with a kidney on my head. Right. If there's a McDonald's, can you get? Do you know what? I don't think we can't get fish at McDonald's, can we over here?
You get a fillet of fish.
They
A
still
fillet of
do
fish,
it.
can't you? But yeah, that's about it. I think, Eric.
No,
Yeah.
that's not proper fish and chips, is it? In the McDonald's.
No, it's fries, isn't it? Or have you?
Pommes frites.
Yeah, now you're talking, Bri. Good, thick, beefy gravy, lovely.
Thing is that they call them French fries, but they were invented in
Cheese farmer.
Belgium.
Cheese farmer! You're a cheese farmer!
Cheese farmer?
Chiswick, cheese farmer.
I don't get it. Shh.
That's it now. Welcome to the Viv and Dan show, the only place where you'll find a cheese farmer.
Bloody cheese farmer.
Cheese farmer. Brilliant.
I grow tomatoes, I have you know.
For
Goes
the
go well
cheese.
with cheese. Being a farmer, you should know that.
Cheese and tomato. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So who's in?
Saturday night
So
was a good night.
So did you get any activity on Saturday, Mark and Wayne?
Yeah. There was apparently a whistle that they got on EVP. There was a whistle heard. And
Can you
there
repeat
was-
that, Viv?
Did you get any activity on Saturday?
Only when he got home and his missus went, "Do you know what? Okay. 5 o'clock. Fuck it. Come on, big boy."
He's out of range at a minute.
He is out of range.
No, they said there were some bumps and they could hear voices, and there was a whistle that they caught on EVP, and there was apparently some entities there that freaked somebody out. So yeah,
Was that in the farmhouse? Was it, or was that?
the farmhouse. Yeah, the farmhouse. I mean,
Yeah, it's active, that farmhouse.
Did you get anything in the war room?
I sported little chubby because I was thinking too hard about when I got home. But
It's all them big weapons.
in the war
Yeah,
room,
so-
no, we had exactly the same as when and I were investigating, because it started off down the bottom of the first stables bit, and you had two voices coming through, two people coming through, and it started exactly the same. And it told us to go into the war room, and then it told us to go where all the weapons and everything were. And then we did that, and then they started getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and then it went flat.
Oh.
And then we went into the house, the mud and stud, and again, same thing. Things started to happen, and it went.
Yeah, it's weird, that, isn't it? That's weird.
It all built up. It built up for a little bit, and we were going, go on. You can use our energy. Just, you're not allowed to attach. You don't have any permission to attack, but you can use our energy.
I reckon
It was starting to do it, and then that was it.
Hmm.
Wayne,
Yeah, it's odd, that place. It sort of gives up some of its information, but not quite enough.
Well, when we were down there in the summer, you know, the thing that was going on,
we build up.
yeah, Wayne and I had a brilliant thing.
What's you saying, Wayne?
Wayne?
It would build up, and then it would just go completely. And you know, every section we went into, you knew there was something there because things were starting to happen. You could hear things. EMF meters were going a bit odd and started going off.
Yeah, it's an interesting place, isn't it? It is one of those places that sort of gives you. I find that it gives you a little bit more each time you go. I'm surprised actually, because the girls like Sint and Naomi and that have been there for years. I'm surprised that they haven't picked up more activity from there.
Maybe they have, but they just can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're not noticing it. They're not actually registering with it.
Well, they reckon that 95% of people
And we
see
get things through on the Alice boxes saying,
hello.
go to someone else.
What was that, Wayne?
We've lost him again.
I think he's having a bit of trouble there, isn't he? I think.
He's driving at the minute, isn't he?
Oh, we'll have a bit of trouble.
Yeah, my cameraman's doing. My cameraman's doing his best sitting here in the passenger seat.
Oh,
But,
bless him.
We've had to go through a couple of dead zones.
No, that's all right. You're back with us now.
I see what you did.
Back
there.
with the living now. So, did you have a good evening there, Wayne?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't as active as the time I was up there for the Parafest with the API. But you know, you go to these places and you can get a different experience each time.
Yeah.
Can't hear. I've got earphones in.
So I mean, it was pretty good considering. I mean, the most active part for me, or the most enjoyable part for me, was when we were in the little cottage and we were hearing these taps.
Yeah.
But everybody else was saying, oh, it's coming from this, it's coming from that. And I'm like, no, because the sound is coming from the opposite direction to what you're saying it is. And then we'd hear the taps again and they'd go, oh, yeah, you're right. It's coming from back there.
Yeah.
But the problem, I think, sometimes the problem is when you hear a tap or you hear a couple of knocks, the first thing everybody does is go to that area to see where the knocks are coming from.
Yeah.
And then they create more knocking while they're walking around in there, so you don't hear anything else.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice just to stop and actually continue to listen in case it does it again.
Yeah.
So you can confirm whether it is coming from that area, but they weren't. As soon as there was a knock, you'd go, it was coming from over there, and everybody would swarm over there and have a listen. Sometimes it's best not to. Sometimes it's best just to stay put.
I agree with that fully. I think that's the problem, isn't it? The problem is that you hear a noise, and rather than sit there and just take it in and just try and equate what's going on in your own head and trying to work things out, everybody runs over there and it creates excess noise. So it creates lots and lots of problems.
It would be the same if you saw something, if something appeared, the same scenario. If something appeared and they all ran to it, it'd go.
Yeah.
So it was just I understand what Wayne's saying.
I tell you what, you could tell that our group were on the same wavelengths because it gradually descended into pure filth that we were coming out with. When we were in the cottage, we could hear something up in the roof. Wayne knows what I'm on about. So we're shining lights at the gaps. And then somebody says, "Oh, if a hand comes through there, I'm going to shit myself," you know. And then that was it. Somebody else went, "Oh, what about if a big whopping big black dick comes through there?" We were like, "Oh, it's a ghost glory
hole."
Yep. And everybody was laughing, and it was using that energy. It was using the energy from that to build up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. At the end of the day, they're just human, aren't they? Spirits are not.
Every now and again, I kept looking up at the whole thing. Please don't poke your pecker through there. Please don't poke your pecker through there.
How would you?
And the thing was, when we look back at it, whenever we did say something that actually made everybody laugh and enjoy themselves, something then happened straight after. You would start hearing the knocking again, and nobody else was actually sort of corresponding that, or putting or linking the two together. The fact that all that positive energy of us peeing ourselves laughing because there's a comment that me or Mark had come out with would then create that extra energy, and then all of a sudden you'd hear these knockings going, and they're like, it just didn't register with them.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can be too clinical sometimes. You've got to go in there with an attitude of just like a normal person. Yeah. Because you're at the end of the day, you're trying to converse with another person, really, be it they're not just in spirit and not in physical, and they're going to have the same attributes as you, so they're going to find things funny, they're going to want to get interested, they're going to join in,
That's Yoda.
Yoda.
It was like when we were doing EVP recordings. It sometimes really does get on my nerves when people start doing EVP recordings, but they ask a question, and literally within seconds after asking that question, they ask another question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in real life, if you're having a conversation with somebody, you wait for them to answer before you come out with another question. So talking to the spirit world is going to be no different to talking to the living world.
No,
wait for an answer first before you fire another question. And they weren't. It was, are you here with us? If you're here, are you male or female? And literally, it was a couple of seconds, and then they'd ask another question. And I'm like, with EVPs, you've got to give it a good 20 to 30 seconds for them to reply, especially with EVP, because you've got to play it back and listen to it to see whether something comes through. And I mentioned it right at the start of the evening when we were in the military section, and said, you need to sort of give a bit of a gap so that if an answer's coming, you've given it a chance to answer. But the military section that wasn't as good as last time. Yeah. When me and Mark were in there last year, it kicked off something chronic, all because of the Holocaust section.
Yeah. Which I noticed they still had that Auschwitz thing up
the
there.
Sign. Yeah. The Holocaust exhibition is still in there, but there was nowhere near the activity that we got the time before. I mean, we had things thrown at us. We had noises and taps and knocks. We were being pointed at certain artifacts that were actually still there.
Yeah.
And
so what was the ratio? What was the ratio of people though this time to last time?
There were definitely people there. Yes.
Really? Up to and including your good selves, of course.
I think there was 8 of us, weren't there, Mark?
Let me think. Me, you, Rachel, Kylie. Did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of us.
Yeah. And what about last time when you got the activity?
That was just me and Wayne.
It was just me and Mark last time.
See, that
could be the reason. Yeah.
That might be. It's little things and little insignificant things. It's why you need to take all this in and then try and work out from when you got activity from the difference as to when you didn't.
Yeah.
Well, UFOs are the hot topic, and it's our show. I'm the alien guy. So
yes, indeed.
Friday night on the Dark Mirror radio show. We'll put
you get all the ufology stuff over there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good evening show.
We do like
along with weird things like new technology, like the new B-21 that's just been released by Northrop Grumman.
Right, what's this? I don't know about this.
The B-21, the USAF.
Bring out a sequel to Love Shack.
The USAF have ordered 100 of these at $770 million a piece.
Hi, Wayne.
But they reckon.
William. I'm calling you Wayne for some reasons because Wayne's talking.
They reckon that this bomber can get to anywhere in the world within an hour.
Wow.
Now, for it to be able to do that, it's using some new technology. No one knows what.
An hour?
They're using an hour.
So does it travel outside the Earth's atmosphere?
We're not. They're keeping quite tight-lipped about it, and I personally think that that's where there's been testing done at Groom Lake.
Yeah.
Right.
Groom Lake, obviously being quite well known for Area 51 and the supposed reverse engineering of alien technology.
Tell Dan about this other area, not Area 51, but is it Area 53 or 52?
Oh, the one down the road from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that all about? I don't know about that either.
Look at Google Maps. We've spoken about it before when it was being built, didn't we?
Yeah.
When it was being built, it was literally all the shit was going on with Area 51 and everybody. Do you know what? Let's all get together and go and charge Area 51.
That's right. Yeah.
Whilst all that was going on, they were going, and they were, and also at the same time, you had all the subterranean booms that were being heard all around North America, which when you map the subterranean booms, make a big ring. And that ring just happens to have a bit that goes through there. And there's lots of subterranean booms that came off. And basically, long story short, I have family that live in Colorado, right by the airport. When the airport was made, the amount of earth that came out was about twice the amount of dirt that should be taken out for the actual airport complex. You have doorways that military personnel guard that you don't see anybody go in and out. And there's been more stuff being taken in. And there's been, the big tunnel things.
Yeah.
Those were put in the ground. And it's been filmed and done. But there's nowhere in the airport on that we could see where they have this. And now you've got all the booms. You've got a complete concentric ring. And now all of a sudden, Area 53. Which, whilst Area 51 was going on and all those bloody idiots saying they were going to attack it, Area 53 was quietly done. Lots of entrances were put all over the place that if you look carefully on Google Maps, you'll find some of them. And things have been spotted going in and out of there that is either Space Force, new technology, or it's our friends from up there working in conjunction with them.
So it's Colorado Airport. Would you call that Area 52?
I wouldn't call it airport. No, but it's linked.
No, Area 52 is an extension of Area 51. And it extends into the mountains around Groom Lake. And basically what it is that obviously when the staff arrive on the aircraft with conveniently blacked out windows, they get off the planes and then they get split into two lots. One lot get into buses with blacked out windows and they go off towards Area 52, where the rest of the people go into Area 51. Right. And for years, people were spotting these buses and they were driving away from the airfield, but not going to Area 51 itself. And no one understood where they were heading because they'd go out of sight until someone managed to find out that these buses were heading into a tunnel in the side of the hillside, which then led into the mountainsides. Right. And they reckon now that there is a complete complex in there because the amount of staff that are going in and out of that area and back to the airfield to get on their blacked out windowed plane, they've extended it, and they do know for a fact that Area 51 is getting larger every year. The boundaries are moving outwards every year. Yep. They're taking more and more space up.
Wow.
So you wouldn't think they've got something like a Stargate in there, would you?
I do believe that there is or are Stargates, because there's stuff that we've spoken about on previous shows where there has to be, because there's some whistleblowers that talk about. You've heard us mention about the whistleblowers. You talk about the bases underneath NASCAR. And, all over the South America, Europe, Siberia, and they say that these places have they said it's not a Stargate as you know from the series. They said it's like airport travelators, not the escalator, but the travelator.
Yeah.
Said that and it's not just one whistleblower. I've seen several interviews with several people who they're not connected. And when I've researched it, they're not connected. They never worked together or anything, but they worked in certain sections of these secret bits. And they've all said the same thing. You go on this travelator thing, and they said it's the air changes. You go sort of like through a bit where there's like a big rock bit, and then the air changes, the atmosphere changes completely. And he said, as soon as you do that, you know you're not on Earth anymore. So
wow.
And they reckon that there's. I mean, this is not our own. This is not us saying it. We're literally going on what's been said to us. They say that there's there's bases on the Moon, Mars. Was it Jupiter or Saturn?
Moons? There's moons of Jupiter as well.
Yeah, and there's one in Uranus. I think it was Uranus as well. But that's not just it. There's supposed to be ones further out that we don't even know about, but they do.
Question: do you know about the strange mural paintings that they've got dotted around the airport? Right. So are they related or little telltale clues of what's really going on or not? Is that just completely irrelevant because these murals are so weird?
I find it highly odd.
Yeah, I think they're connected somewhere along the line to something to do.
Do you know what? I looked at those murals and I looked into their murals, and when you follow, it's like if you go to a Catholic church, you've got something called the Stations of the Cross.
Yep.
So what it starts on the birth of Christ and goes right through to the crucifixion. So it gives you little imprint. And those murals,
where you're going with this.
They seem to be indicating where the world. If you look in the last couple of years, the way the world's gone, they seem to start it off, and it seems to they become more totalitarian. Those
one
pictures.
second there, Wayne. You sound like a Japanese moped. Are you still not very well?
Sorry, my battery's getting low.
You're two-stroke. They seem to be very much following the same pattern as the way the world's gone in the last couple of years, and they become more totalitarian, more dictatorial, and more frightening.
When you look at the pictures with that viewpoint of a start and an end, have you noticed the one where beings from elsewhere come in?
Yeah. And have you noticed the amount of the population number that they want?
Yeah.
The low number that they've got written up, and that's where they want to be.
Yeah, but that's
very similar. Lot of it, I'll be honest with you, a lot of it, I think as well, is to do with demonic. It's demonic as well, I think. And I'm not one to jump down into that sphere.
We got some things coming up in the chat. Let's put them up quick.
I don't know how to explain this. Try bone fold and noise cancelling headphones. Listen through the headphone in real time to EVP.
So you know what to ask, I suppose. To leave the questions.
Definitely.
Back engineered, like Bob Lazar, isn't it? The back engineered technology.
There's a lot of people who say that the aliens are us from the future, but again, if you know where to go, what to look for, and how to find certain things on the internet, you can find all the stuff from whistleblowers, and you can find where they talk about the Galactic Federation, just like on Star Trek. Just like on Star Trek.
There is a popular theory that this planet was seeded with the genetic materials needed for us to evolve. Hence why the dinosaurs were made extinct by the mass extinction event. The then genetic materials were then placed here, and the theory being is that the people that are either abducted or they leave with aliens and come back or don't come back at all in some cases, are them coming here and looking at their experiment, looking at the evolution, like a history or science lesson. They're coming back here to see how we're evolving. And there is quite a popular train of thought that they are future us's. Because obviously we've got, this planet has evolved over billions of years. Now, we spent millions of years of having dinosaurs, but there's nothing to state that in a planet in the Goldilocks zone in another universe, they didn't have their extinction event for like 5,000 years earlier, or even 1 million years earlier, which means their evolution would have started earlier. Which means they would be far more superior to us. They would know how to use wormholes and things like that, and traveling from point A to B in minutes rather than light years. So it's quite possible that they are future versions of ourselves. It's just that the majority of people on Earth don't want to understand that.
No, they don't.
And I think that is what a lot of people are scared of. Is they're scared of the unknown.
Eric says, I remember the White Area 51. They never stormed Area 51 because it would have had a...
Yeah.
Oh, it was all a bunch of bloody overprivileged, over-entitled 19-year-olds that get butthurt because somebody glared at them or called them a boy when they think they're a flipping teapot. I'm going, I know. Storm Area 51. You're not. You're going to get shot, mate.
I mean, they do have signs up dotted all around Area 51 that says use of lethal force will be used. 9 times out of 10, the pickup truck pops up and they go, excuse me, guys, you need to be going. And that's enough to scare them off.
Yeah.
So when it came to this, let's storm Area 51, there was just a small group of people that turned up and they went, go on your bike. And they did.
I've got one for you that we were talking about on Friday's show, actually. As I said about the Galactic Federation, and again, it's not me quoting stuff from Star Trek, anything like that, and it's not our own thoughts, but it is a very plausible thesis. But these whistleblowers talk about the Galactic Federation, and they said that there's already 5 known species from different planets that are in this federation. They want us in that federation, but whilst you've got the likes of all the corrupt Bobberments, you can't do it because you've got to get rid of all that corruption. But one of the species comes from just out past Alpha Centauri, and to look at, you would never tell the difference between us and them. And they're apparently the original place where we first came from, and we've been seeded on lots of planets, and we're not just here; we're throughout lots and lots of galaxies. And one of the things I was going to talk about, it was what we mentioned on Friday, was, do you believe in precursors or anything like that? Or there was an intelligent species here before us?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
I can definitely get on board with that.
Right. You know all the evidence that's pointing towards stuff that's been here for about 1.5 to 2 million years before us.
Yeah.
The nuclear depleted uranium that was found that you can only get by man-made process. Giant skeletons that have been found all over the world, but even the Smithsonian hide and go, no such thing. And then you look into Native American legends, look into all the religious books, not just the Bible or anything like that, because all the religious books literally are an interpretation of things that we could not possibly understand back then. Now, when they talk about the flood, the big flood, if you look along the timeline of every single religious book, they all have a great flood that wiped everything out.
Yeah.
If you look into Pliny the Elder's stuff about Atlantis, and you look at some of the other stories about Atlantis went kaboom about the same time as the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Now, Atlantis, again, with the new Dead Sea Scrolls that have been found recently, that talks about, they don't say the name Atlantis, but they talk about a place in the sea that had vast technology and was way ahead of us, and we couldn't comprehend what they had. This place was linked to another one in Antarctica. It was linked to another one in Northern Europe, Southern Europe, South America, North America, and there was somewhere else as well. When Atlantis went boom, because of whatever technology that they had, it created such a shockwave that it created the worldwide tsunami, which wiped 90% of everything out on Earth. Yeah. And not only that, it caused a mini ice age, which is what froze that particular bit of Antarctica, where several years ago, all the heads of state from across the world had to meet and see what the new thing that they found was. The place where special forces talk about having gone down there, and there is a city down there with shit in there you wouldn't believe, technology you wouldn't believe, and the remains of beings who are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Look at the Bible, look at the references. The most honest religious book that I've found that talks about precursors, aliens, etc., 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 is the Mahabharata, because when it talks about the fight they had in the air, it describes the ships they use, it describes the weapons they use. They don't say angels and demons. They just talk about the fight between good and bad. And when you
What's
look
that
at
book called?
the Mahabharata, it's Indian. And when they talk about
available from all good bookshops,
just hear me out,
corner shops.
Shut your mouth, you toilet. Right. When you read this and then you put it in the same timeline as all the other religious texts, and you do it in the same timeline as the Babylonians when they talk about Enki and Enlil and all that lot, it's all the same time. And when the Babylonians talk about Nibiru and the Anunnaki and how the Anunnaki fell out with each other, and they were originally our gods because we were like, oh, the technology you've got, you must be gods. Our DNA was altered within a 20,000 year time frame, which is that for evolution. And we went from to hello.
So that's kind of very much Scientology, then, isn't it?
I think there's a truth there in all the religious books, and it's how you interpret it. But if you link it up, religious books, Babylonian, all the daft legends about Nibiru, Anunnaki, there's something in every single bit which matches up, and it's all the same.
And we also have to remember that a lot of the religious contexts that have been put out there have been put out there, but there are things missing.
Yeah.
The Bible is technically a lot bigger than what it actually is.
Yeah.
There was loads of the Dead Sea Scrolls that the church or the Christian faith removed because they didn't feel that people needed to know this, so it all got locked away. Then you got James I changed the Bible again to include witches.
Yeah. Well, it was the Hammer of the Witches when he got hold of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they've omitted lots and lots of different books from the Bible.
Exactly. I mean, you've got the Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
Now the book,
mentioned that.
and me and Mark have talked about the Book of Enoch quite a few times. And that describes about how he was 350 years old and he didn't technically die. He ascended to the heavens.
Right there.
But you look at the Bible, I mean, you look at things like, if you look at things like Noah and his kids and his family, they lived for hundreds of years. These beings, then Noah was like 500 or 600 when he passed, but he didn't pass. He just moved out the history books. It's just very, very weird. It's very, very odd.
Well, when we had our DNA altered,
I think the Vatican doesn't want you to know any of this. This is
I'd kill to be in their vaults.
I mean, the Vatican now have got no choice because we mentioned it a few months back that the Vatican have actually had a 2-week conclave where he called all his cardinals and bishops in and said to them, we need to figure out a way of explaining to the faith about other beings.
Do you know what else they did about a month ago?
Is that when they paid
they removed all the Vatican removed all its finances globally from the banking system and pulled it back indoors, pulled it back in the house.
That's because they don't want to go digital.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting.
And they want to keep away.
Pulled back in.
They want to keep away from the central banks.
That conclave. Just afterwards, was it last year? NASA paid the Vatican, I think it was $3 million, to train some of their guys up to talk to the world and explain beings from other planets and the fact that they will have their own gods that we need to respect.
Well, it changed, didn't it? The whole ethos changed with the Vatican and with the Catholic Church. Bear in mind, I'm Catholic anyway, or was. But the ethos changed, didn't it? It went from, no, there are no other beings outside of these earthly beings, to, well, if there are other beings, then they all come under God's plan. So it was a way of incorporating, bringing the truth back in a little bit, you know?
It's drip feeding it back into society. Religion has spent so long saying that we are the only living things in the known universe or in known space and time. And now, because the evidence is now coming out and it's being put out there, they're like, we've got to do something about this because we do know the truth, but we've been withholding the truth.
I remember that. I remember that.
Earlier on, Carl, I was actually thinking that it actually reminded me of Holly from Red Dwarf.
What does he say? Doesn't the gatekeeper say, "Shut up, you maggot"?
Oh, yeah. Keep quiet, you filthy maggot. You may roll a 3 to move again.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, my nan got quite upset by that game because he called her a dirty old maggot.
We should have an atmosphere game challenge one day. I wonder if they do it online. We can play it.
Guys are coming on to our Christmas quiz show next Friday. Not
yes.
Friday, yeah.
Yes.
How
long, is it going to be another 5-hour marathon?
12 hours we're going for next time, aren't we?
Who knows?
Bring alcohol.
You never know with the dark mirror.
Bring alcohol. I'm gonna get 50 questions, and we can all take our time, have a drink, have a laugh, have a chat, talk about all the crap that we've been doing.
That'll be fun.
One of the other things that we brought up last week was what the American Bobberment have done now. You know, they released those videos.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said, yeah, the aliens are real. Yeah, they're out there. People from other planets are real. You know. And then they went, we're going to have full disclosure. And then they had their disclosure, which, quite frankly, I have a head full of lovely locks of hair compared to their disclosure. And then they had 2 meetings with the Senate, who went, hang on a minute, what's going on? They admitted to the Senate that we are in contact with people from elsewhere. They have been talking to us for years, etc., etc., etc. And then was it last week? I think it was last week or the week before. The American government, because obviously the rest of the general public in the world are thick as pig muck, according to them, came out and went, no, all these videos, they're drones from other countries. There's nothing from any other planets out there. Yes, you must listen to us. That's said, and that is our word is law.
Yeah. Right. Do you know what? I'm hoping that even though people are still asleep, I'm hoping that the last couple of years has woken them up to the underhandedness of governments globally.
Yeah.
And how much they take, how thick they think people really are.
He's laughing at Wayne's new nickname, Maggot.
Wayne the Maggot. See then, I tell you what, people are going to see that come up and they're going to be like, oh.
And all I've got to do is answer, I've got 4 kids, so I can't have.
It's not the length, it's the quality. That's what my missus says.
Replying to Robert's question just then, before Cole's you've just put up there. There has been a lot of recorded stuff from International Space Station, including objects that have come into view, and NASA have cut the feed straight away.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen today's video?
No, I haven't. I've been busy.
Artemis. Right, Clarky Bollocks. Artemis. The Artemis video, it was coming around the dark. It went dark because they were around they were around the arse of the moon. And as they came round, something else is there. And they were saying, the thing came up. Is this Nibiru? Is this the thing that's been coming into our solar system for the last 2 years that they've been monitoring, and you can now fucking see it? And if you look it up, the Artemis video, there's like a red planet way off in the distance.
Do you know what? Right? Do you think, right? And it seems to be, I don't know, I might be pissing up the wrong tree here, but do you think that, or recently, and particularly in the last year or so, there's been a lot more upturn in the activity regarding cryptids?
Yes, there has.
They've been seen even more globally. They've been seen like in England and there's one seen last week in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Guy swears it was a Bigfoot. Do you think this has got any relation to what's going on outside the Earth's atmosphere in space with the visitors, if you were?
Well, one of the things that gets me is, you know, the religion about the firmament. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to poo-poo any religion or knock people who believe it. I'm spiritual. We couldn't be paranormal investigators if we didn't think there was something after death.
Yes.
Right? I'm convinced you go on after death. Wayne's trying to kill himself. But I'm convinced.
So prove the point.
But none of us can call ourselves experts because we don't know what it is.
No.
But scientists have now discovered a bubble around part of our solar system. Right? Could this be what the Bible interprets as the firmament? Now, religions say you can't go in and out of this firmament. You can because Voyager 1, Voyager 2 have gone through it. But because everything can come in and out, is this cosmic bubble that's been now only just discovered, could this be what our gods told us about and said there is a bubble there, it's for this protection, that protection, that's protection, we shall call it, say, the firmament? Do you think that may be what they're on about?
It could very well be that. See, it's like a jigsaw, isn't it? All the pieces are starting to fit together.
I think there's something coming.
Without a doubt.
I'm hoping it's for good. It's going to be in our lifetimes very, very soon.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't see it.
I mean,
if you look at the
surprised.
Bible, there's a lot of people now. If you look at it from a biblical point of view, a lot of people now are talking about how the actions of the governments and the way that the world is going is almost following the pattern where the Bible says this is what will happen prior to the second coming.
Yeah.
Could that be a representation of...
I don't think there's going to be demons popping out from under our feet. And
No.
I think that was misinterpreted as a war between warring alien species. With their technology, you had one lot who looked like this, you had another lot who looked like this, and this particular lot liked helping us. The other lot didn't want to help us. They wanted.
That's you just described the film Predator and Aliens.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
you know,
the thing is as well is we have to look at it as it's the interpretation.
Yeah,
we know that obviously the original Dead Sea Scrolls were written in Aramaic.
Yeah,
so
and more are being found.
The translation from an ancient language into modern dialect is the same with Nostradamus' predictions. When Nostradamus made his predictions, they were in ancient Italian or ancient Spanish or whichever it was. And over the years, it got translated. But the more it got translated, the more it altered.
Yeah. Words change,
so it started off as one thing and ended up as something else. So the translation changes, and that will be exactly the same as the Bible.
Yeah.
There would be no true translation of the Bible because nobody knows the true Aramaic language.
No. Exactly.
I do believe there's good and bad in everything. I believe there's different dimensions, different places, different species that can pop through. But I don't think it's angels and demons as the Bible says. I think
no. I think that's just one. I suppose one ideal, isn't it? That's one piece of the theology of it is a certain sector's idea of what it is about. Who's that?
Edward Scissorhands.
That's Edward Scissorhands.
Do you know what? If they vibrated, that would be Edward Dildo Hands, and I'd be saying, "Babe, what's wrong with you?"
It's Edward Scissorhands. Little Dolly.
Look what he did to me! I asked for a nail trim.
See, that was interesting. That what Eric says is interesting. There was that monolith that was in the middle of the desert on national TV. A government helicopter saw it. They landed and examined it, and then later it was gone.
Monolith? What, like the ones that keep popping up?
The ones, the ones that kept popping up, like the one in the desert. That was actually an art installation, and it was an actual setup because it turned out there was another one popped up in Romania, another one popped up over here in England.
Yeah.
There was quite a few of them, and it was all done by an artist online. He managed to get other people in on it, and they were all told to go and put these monoliths in places and video it. Yeah. And all they did was just got random symbols and stuff and put them on the sides, planted them in place. And it got, to start off with, it caused a hell of a stir.
There was a lot of panic.
Everybody was like, oh my God, look at this. Where's this come from? And then someone turned around and said, it seems too much like 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
And then everybody started questioning it. Then you got the fake videos coming through on TikTok of, if you look in the crack in the canyon wall in the first monolith that was seen, there's something with its hand gripping the rock, and you could see the side of its head peering round, and it was all done through CGI, and it all got blown completely out of proportion. And then there was one group in I can't remember what, in the States that was going to go to this monolith, and then the original artist popped up and said, wait, that was my idea, that was me that put that there, because he didn't want it getting destroyed. So in the end, he openly admitted it was him, and that there was other people involved as well all around the world. And then the Romanian one turned up.
Yeah, I remember there was one in Cornwall or something, wasn't it? There was one down by a river in Cornwall, apparently.
Yep. There was about 7 of them all over the world.
Do you think we had signs?
I bought a ghost home with me.
I've got a ghost over there on the sofa. You can't see
it.
Is
he there? Is he moved?
Viv, was that one of the Skegness ghosts?
I bought a ghost home with me. I think that's Stretch, isn't it? From Casper.
That's how the living looking Skegness, let alone dead.
That's what Carl reckons Carl Murden said.
There's less and less people in Skegness now. They're all being taken over by the hotels, aren't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys think we've been getting signs? I don't mean religious signs. I don't mean any of that. I mean signs that we're going to have a definitive, we're here.
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you know what? I think they've been here for a long time, and I think they've been amongst us for a long time.
Years.
I think they've been here all along.
Look at the Renaissance paintings.
Yeah. I think they've been amongst us for a long, long time, and we wouldn't recognise them.
I think they've been here before we were.
Yeah. Precursors or...
No, I just think they were the original versions of us, and they were here all along.
You're not allowed that, Viv. Oh.
I personally, Viv, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because if you look at the history of that, you'll find there's nothing racist about it.
He's actually Egyptian.
It's very true.
You'll get swatted now.
Why? Because I've got a golly.
They don't go after real criminals anymore. They go after people who put stuff online.
all I will say is the history of that was working on government service.
Mm.
And the sackcloth, the name of the sackcloth that was used. That's all it was about. It's got nothing to do with race, colour, or creed.
Very little of it has, is it? Very little of these old things that people get upset about.
What people get wound up about the word wog, and they used to think it was a real slur and it means Westernized Oriental gentleman. It doesn't at all.
Yeah, exactly. It means Western. Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you, I have an uncle Woggy in Egypt. His name is Woggy. That's his name. His Christian name. And I used to get embarrassed when he used to come over here and go shopping with my dad. My dad said, "You come out shopping with Uncle Woggy." I say, "No, because
you want to come with Uncle Woggy?"
No, because he'd stand in the shop in the middle of the men's department shouting across, "Wog, wog, wog, what do you think of this shirt? Do you want to buy this one?"
He wouldn't go shopping in Brixton, though, would you?
Shut up.
What has the Olympic 100 meters final and being in the nightclub in Brixton got in common?
Go on.
There's one gunshot and about 8 black guys leg it.
Yeah.
Wayne told me that.
Wayne's terrible.
He didn't.
That's Dogman, isn't it?
Dogman, Bri, yeah.
Anubis, yeah.
Dogman.
There's been more and more Dogman and, as you were saying, Dogman and Yeti sightings. It's just gone mad. And like the last week, because I keep up on a lot of them. And
I do.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the videos are fucking, you can see it's an idiot in a pair of shorts with a pair of lights on, but some of them are like, oh.
There's a guy in the West Country somewhere that saw one last week. He terrified, went to the police, absolutely terrified.
He liked talking like this. He saw a big hairy man. I did.
I've been hitting out there scrumpy, I have.
Oh, you have? Oh, he's been at that scrumpy.
Rachel.
She does, Rachel.
Rachel, do you like this one? Do you like this one, Rachel?
You say toys, Rachel, but it's only old shit she has.
Right, she loves the sausage.
That one looks rather violent.
It's apparently it's Viv's penis.
No, it's called Willie. It's called Willie.
But I said it looks like a bong. Rachel does have a gollywog, and I don't mean me just because I'm hairy. She actually does have a gollywog.
Yeah, we should, owners of gollywogs, we should have a gollywog tea party one day just for a laugh.
How many people, how many of generation would ring up to, oh, I'm offended, and they're like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Oh, I'm offended by that. Why are you?
The older generations wouldn't.
But what is that lot going to do when these aliens actually do arrive? These millennials are going to be.
They'll be the first people that shit themselves and run off the White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah, yeah. But they can't
wouldn't know
deal
what
with
to
life
do with themselves.
They can't deal with life. These youngsters.
No.
What was I watching today? They were saying something about they did a poll or something in the States, and they were saying that it's something like 74% of kids that they polled don't want to get a job ever. They want to start home with their mum and dads and live off their mum and dad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When we were kids, it was straight out to work, wasn't it? It was like, what's going on? I can't get my head around it.
Do you know what? If I saw a
That'd
dog
be
man,
cool, Carl.
If I saw a dog man,
Willie.
No, if I saw a dog man and I'm out with Dan and I haven't got any food to throw it to act as a decoy, I'd push Dan in front of it and just leg it in the other direction.
I haven't got dog. I can see dog over there, over the top of the
dog
chair.
Man would be pretty cool.
Ghost?
Hi, Jamie. I'll give you a phone call tomorrow, mate.
Ghost.
That's Ghosty. Ghosty's beautiful.
You gonna come up here?
Yes.
Yes. Let's go.
Hey, Ghost.
Go. Oh, look at that.
Ghost.
Ghost. There's no food up here. You're not having a cat food, no. Okay, you've had fun. That's it.
No, it's a bag that I bought down from the loft. It's the kids' toys. Edward Scissorhands and Raymond is mine. No, this one is mine. It's the haunted.
She just went with it, and it looked like it wobbled on the camera. Stop it!
Rachel says I was just bigger than yours, Viv.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel.
It's not the size; it's what you do with it that counts.
That's true. That's very true, Carl.
Do you know why women can't park? Because for
Can't
years,
park.
men have been men have been telling women that this is 6 inches.
But yeah,
that'd be cool.
All these millennials, they'd rather stick their hands to the roads than actually go out and do something decent with their lives.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That would be a good name for a show on an alien petri dish.
It would actually, yeah. He was right. Robert was saying that we all descended from one person. We were all descended from one gene and another gene that came from a different species, hence the golden blood that my mum has. She's got that universal blood.
What is that universal? What is it?
It's what is it?
It was the A rhesus negative, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A rhesus.
What my mum's got.
Or O rhesus negative, one of the two. It was something like that. It was something negative because I think we mentioned it the other day, didn't we?
Eric says he doesn't know what a gollywog is.
It was given by the head, unfortunately, back when America had slaves.
No. It goes right back to Egypt.
Oh, right, you explain it, mate.
Yeah.
With when the British were over in Egypt, they obviously had people working for them, and they were working on government service. And it was these people's children would make dollies out of black sackcloth, and because the children called the British white men were called gollies, and because these dolls were given to these men, they called them gollywogs, because the wogs were from the working on government service people's children, and they called the white man gollies or ghost, so they became gollywogs.
Yeah,
and the name just carried on. So there is, if you look at the history of it, there is no reason why there should be any racist issue with it, because if anything, it's racist to white people.
And I'm not fussed by it. Are you?
It doesn't bother me, no.
Call me a golly, whatever you want. I'm not bothered. Just not fussed by it.
Do you know what? Sometimes white guys get called cracker. You see it in the movies. Hey, cracker.
Yeah, why is that?
Back when, when there were slaves in North America and they would get tied up and whipped, the white guy that had the whip, that's where cracker.
Oh, cracker.
It is a bad term for white guys. But to be absolutely honest, all this, what happened to them and everything, don't agree with it. It was a shit show. But the whole world had slaves. The whole world went out and got slaves. It wasn't just white people.
No,
it was
right through history.
I'm Irish. My country was fucked. They took
Same here
for slaves.
Same here.
They're just as bad as a lot of, unfortunately, the Africans had. It was terrible. But it's always the white guys that get it in the neck, and it's like, nah, my lot was taken away.
The slave trade was actually perpetrated by a lot of the rich South African blacks.
Yeah, I watched
a
video. Yeah. I saw a video earlier on today of a black African minister had actually stood there in front of this. It must have been his parish, but it was rather large. There was a couple of hundred people in there, and he turned around to them and said that the slave trade was not engineered by white people.
No,
the slave trade was engineered by the people that sold the slaves to the white people, and those people that sold the slaves to the white people just so happened to be the leaders of that particular country.
Yeah.
So it was the black leaders that sold the slaves to the white people in the first place.
Absolutely.
So he was saying, if you want to blame anybody, you blame our leaders' ancestors.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely
them that caused the slave trade, not the white people.
But you know what?
Do you know what? Slavery as well. People neglect to remember that slavery was actually ended by the Royal Navy.
Yep.
It was ended by this country.
We ended it, and then 30 years after, the Americans took it on, and the rest of the world started doing it.
I don't agree that people, they pull all these statues down, and it's like it's promoting slavery, blah, blah, blah. We have to have these statues up purely to remember our past, so we don't go back there. So if all these millennials and all these do-writers and bloody whatever political parties all get on this bandwagon and pull down our statues, our kids, our grandkids are not going to know what happened in the past.
Do you know what? If you're going to pull down any symbol of slavery, you might as well just flatten the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Because every stone that's laid has got its foot somewhere in slavery.
He's got to go and get his daughter.
I'm going to pop off there, so I've got to go and get my daughter.
Okay, I'll see you soon, Wayne. We'll get you back on.
Take it easy, mate. Great to see you.
See you soon.
See you soon, brother. Cheers, mate.
See ya.
Oh, bless him. And then there was 3.
And then there was 3.
And this is why people like the Dark Mirror Show, because we talk about everything. We don't give a shit if we offend anybody, because we're not actually talking as to offend somebody. We're just talking.
Oh, tell them when you're on, Wayne. Tell them when you're on.
You're on
night, aren't you? Oh no, you're on Friday night, aren't you?
Friday night.
Oh, we're on the Dark Mirror Radio Show. We're here on Facebook. He says, looking at that, we are the Dark Mirror Radio Show.
We are on
9:30. We're always live at 9:30 every single Friday night. Although we were off for 3 weeks with illness. And this Friday, we're just gonna normal crap where we talk about everything: aliens, UFOs, Bobberments and their corruption and shit like that. And then next Friday is our end of year show where we always have a Christmas quiz. You have to have one of the rules with it is you have to have a drink as you are doing the Christmas quiz. Because Robert Earl White from the Order of Light is coming on to join us, and he will be getting hammered like he did last year. Fucking hilarious. He did. And
is it the guy with the long ginger beard?
Yeah.
I know him.
Is he the American fella?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a nice guy.
He's the font of knowledge, isn't he? I was going to say he's the font of knowledge, isn't he, with the ufology and stuff? Yeah.
But I think he's an ordained minister, if I remember rightly, or an ordained priest. He knows, you name it, he knows about it.
Shall I tell you a secret?
Go on.
Dan's an ordained. Well, you an ordained what, Dan?
Well, I'm a bishop now.
A bishop?
It's a load of old rubbish. It's a load of old bollocks. It's one of those ones. I was bored one night, so I went online, and for I think about $2, I got ordained into this church, and then I paid an extra $5. I don't know, a year later, and they made me a bishop.
Dan, do that. Do that. Bishop's finger. There you go.
Hey.
Hey.
I often bash the bishop.
Oh, Dan.
But no, yeah, I'm a bishop according to this church, and I actually saw a book once. This woman had written this book. It was like a pagan book. She was some I don't know. She was a Wiccan, and she'd actually put. And I thought, you can't do that. She'd put, I'm an ordained minister of the Church of, and it was the same one I was involved with. Not involved with, but the same one. And I thought, you can't put that, man. That's just a joke.
One thing Carl's just brought up with, and I've got to say, it boils my piss how fucking soft people have got now. Churches are supposed to be against evil and this, that, and the other. And the word Satan, when you translate it, it means my enemy. Right?
It's actually got various meanings, Satan.
It means bringer of light as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the fact that you have a church of Satan, I'm sorry, and it's now accepted worldwide. I'm sorry if it's going to piss people off. I don't think it should be there. I don't think it should be there.
But the thing is, I won't mind telling you, I'm a Satanist, and I'm a Levain Satanist. And the main principles are all the other stuff is bump and rubbish just to make people go there. But what basically what it tells you is be responsible for your own actions. Don't commit a sin. Don't be nasty to somebody and then think, I'll be all right because I can go to church and say 7 Our Fathers and tell Hail Marys and it'll be all right. Basically, they're saying don't look for another entity to look for forgiveness. Be responsible for your own actions.
Which you are,
and that's what the crux of Satanism is. All these things that have been added on and added on and added on and added on afterwards is just rubbish. Because the point, the pointed star that they go on about, and it's inverted, and that means evil. Actually, it's not. It's all to do with your elements and things like that. And your elements.
It's like a swastika, And it's like Lilith, perfect example of bastardizing somebody. Lilith, first vampire, first demon, this. No. Lilith was a queen whose husband died.
Yeah,
and she was a queen that was loved by all her people.
Yeah.
And the neighboring guys came in and said, "You're going to marry me, the neighboring king, because yours is dead now. We're going to take over." And she went, "No, you're not. People love me. Yeah, you either bow to us or we'll fucking kill you." And she went, "Fuck you," and jumped out of a window and killed herself.
Wasn't
Beelzebub? It's like the pentacle, though, isn't it? The pentacle is actually on one of the oldest forms of religious iconography. The pentacle is actually on the Seal of Solomon.
Yeah.
See,
and Beelzebub, who's deemed a demon, actually wasn't. He was a deity. It was a deity that was celebrated, and lovely ornate churches built for Beelzebub. But he was the bringer of fertility and things like that. I
was going to say, I do believe in the old gods, but one thing I will say is, although I'm not religious, I believe the old gods were real. And again, you remember what I said about all the religious books and everything? Yeah, everything happens in the same timeline.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
You had a Parthenon, you had a head god, you had all these little the godlings that did specific things. If you look at how many of them there were, look at the next religion with their Parthenon. They had a head god, the same number of underlings, etc., 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 etc. And it wasn't until the Romans came along and went, "Fuck you," and Akhenaten, I went, "Fuck you, you're going to have one god." I think that the gods were real, but there was only one lot of gods. But because of their technology, they could appear any country. They had, I think, they had some sort of like stealth technology where they could change their
looks,
how they look to them, but they're actually still the same. But we perceive them as different, and that's why each culture perceives the same set of gods as different. But I believe they were either precursors or they were from elsewhere, settled here, and then went off to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Yeah, the swastika's an Indian. Actually, it's an old Indian good luck thing, isn't it?
Right, I think that's right. And I still think some of the gods are still about, but not here.
Yeah. Well, actually, they all go and visit Zach Bagans, and he calls them all demons.
Very old Christian.
Don't even get me started about
iconography, Andy. The pentacle.
They're all They will go to see Zach Bagans, and it's a demon.
Oh.
And it's a little girl. It's always a little girl.
A little blonde girl, isn't it? It's always a little blonde girl.
A little girl who's really a demon.
Hi, Zach. Hi, and welcome to the show. Fucking little idiot. I'm sorry. Zach.
Oh, you have to get Dave.
Don't get me wrong. Good businessman knows what he's doing. Business. But
very clever.
Yeah, but when it comes to investigating, I've never met such an arrogant, up his own arse little tosser.
No, I agree.
We spoke to David Oman, and as you know, they went over and filmed
David
episode at the Oman House about the Sharon Tate thing, and the stories and the stuff that he tells us. It's just so funny.
He doesn't like him, does he?
No, I love David Oman. I love that man to pieces.
Yeah, I've seen a few interviews with people who've worked with him, and they've all literally every single one of them fucking knob end.
Yeah,
walking.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of these, to be honest with you.
No,
it was all
right, wasn't it? Take him or leave him, and just don't really bother me.
I used to like him, but it was when he started yelling entities and going, "Yeah, you do this and you do that, and I'm not scared of you." And mate, have a bit of respect.
Yeah, he's just a tosser, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think it's all just for the camera. I think off the camera, he's completely different. Man.
He has made a lot of money out of it, hasn't he?
That's why I said he's a very good businessman. Don't get me wrong.
Very shrewd.
He might be nice, but from what I've seen, away from the camera, he's still an asshole. So, but he never used to be. All the fame and it got to it, and when he's directing everything now, it's just got to his head.
Yeah, he runs a whole lot now, doesn't he? He's overseeing a lot.
So many people you see. I mean, I know close family friends who've completely forgotten where they came from because they had some money.
You know? Really?
Yeah. I've always said if I won the lottery, I wouldn't forget my friends. I wouldn't buy a Ferrari or any crap like that. I'd help all my family out and buy a nice house and a nice car. That's it.
I always said that. Do you know what? I'd have a normal car. Normal car.
Me and Dan have said we're going to buy a castle somewhere, have a wildlife park around it, have the paranormal investigators in. You know, if they piss us off, we'll just feed them to the lions. It's not a problem.
Exactly.
I
love the British language. Tosser.
You love the British language, tosser.
You'll have to start using it over the other side of the pond, dear Eric.
Eric,
you hear an American say wanker.
Use this word. Eric, use this word. Diddy-coy.
Diddy-coy.
Do you remember that word, diddy-coy? It's not used anymore.
Diddy-coy.
It's old Romany, old traveller speak.
They don't like that word, do they? Diddy-coy. Call somebody a diddy-coy. They don't like it.
No, like gathers.
It's not a swear word.
Yeah.
Where's the gathers? Yeah.
Eric, see, you have to go tomorrow. Use that word. Call somebody a stupid diddy-coy. See what they say.
And another one you've got to do, but you have to do it in a broad London accent, is you've got to go, "You fucking toilet, you me."
I'd love to buy an old asylum if I had the money.
I would like to buy an old place, and I would open for teams that I know and like. I'd open it up, say, "Come in."
Be nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't you? Have your friends investigate it?
Yeah. Because I've seen too many public investigations where too many teams go and there's too many egos.
Yeah.
And they all try and outdo each other. Like
it was nice on Saturday that we didn't have that. We didn't have egos.
That's because you had nice people there Saturday, though, didn't you? You had we all sort of more or less know each other.
They were a good bunch. Yeah, they were a good bunch.
Yeah, they're all decent people.
Except for there was somebody missing. But
who was that? Who was that?
The person I brought a bloody Christmas card for. Seriously, I got a Christmas card for you. I brought it up with me.
Oh, you got to bring it. I mean, I can't now, can you? Well, show it to me next week, and I'll look at it on your show.
See you later, Andy, mate. I'll see you on Friday.
Take it easy, Andy.
Bye, Andy.
Cheers, buddy.
Oh.
But yeah, back to the
great fish and chips, lovely food.
And it was awesome. And we had tea dueling. Yes.
Oh, did you do that?
That was different.
Tea dueling for ghost hunters. It's the new thing.
Don't use the vegan biscuits because they stay there for it. They stay vegan biscuits. They stay erect for ages.
Unlike vegans.
They're not getting enough meat in their diet.
Exactly.
Oh, it was funny.
Yeah, it was.
All right, who turned the fucking phone off of flight mode?
Do you know, I was wondering that quite a few times. Oh, this was going off, and that was going off, and this was going off, and every time we walked past, it was doing this and it was doing that, and I'm like, somebody hasn't put their phone on.
I'll tell you what. Me and Viv did an investigation once. It was over. It was at what's the castle where what's the name was Viv Smith? The Tutbury.
Oh, Tutbury. Oh, yeah.
And we went up onto it was just this like remnants of the bit of the castle left at the top of this hill. Obviously, got the rest of the castle. And we went up to this turret bit that was left, climbed up this hill. And I'm not going to say who it was, although we no longer speak to this person. Not because we just don't see them. Lovely person. But anyway, they were walking around. They were picking stuff on the K2. That K2's going off every time. They must like me. This person went, every time I go in there, that goes off and it answers one question. Dirty. And we said, have you got a mobile phone on you? Yeah. Have you put it on flight mode? No. Move away and then move back again. Moved away, nothing. Moved back and it's going off. It's your fucking phone.
I've got one for you. Confessions of a Paranormal Investigator. I can't say where or who, right? Because otherwise... because I like the person, and if they hear this, they're gonna be, and I mentioned where or whom, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? But there was an investigation a while back. Kerry Greenaway was with me, and one of the guests there, nice guy. Don't get me wrong, nice guy, but very overly enthusiastic about everything. Right, anything that happens. Dust or anything, it's an orb. My pet hate is when people who aren't paranormal investigators think they know everything about investigations, and they dust, they tell you it's an orb. Just pisses me off. But anyway, and he set up an experiment, and it was a star in a load of flour, right? So if it moved, you'd see it move a fraction. I
pick up all that stuff.
I was hiding behind a wall. Watched him set this up. And this is, like I say, this is my confession. And I watched him walk down the corridor, and I went, and I just fuck it. And I went into the room, got his star, and I went, and then came back out again. And I was giggling as I came out, and Rachel's gone, "You're an evil bastard," you know. I walked off. About half an hour later, you could hear this guy at the other end going, "Oh my god, it worked!"
God.
Come on. Was it one? Wayne?
No, it wasn't Wayne.
Do we know who it was? Do we know this? Do we know this person?
You probably do. You will have seen them at some point, yeah. But it's nobody that we've been. I haven't seen this person for about 3-4 years, so you know. But yeah, it was just. See, that's why I like doing investigations. When you've got a good bunch, you can have a laugh and a joke.
Oh, yeah.
And you can let some people in on the stuff you do, because I do play jokes sometimes.
Yeah. You have to have a laugh with it, I think, otherwise.
You go mental otherwise.
You know when you've got it and you've got all the ones that every single knock, every single bang, every single tick is paranormal, every single bit of dust, beetle, cobweb, paranormal. Like I said, I had a rant on my wall when somebody sent me a video. I get sent videos all the time, people trying to get them on the wall.
Yeah.
And pretty much 99.9% of them, you can see what it is straight away. And I will always, I've never ever rude to anybody. I'm not, fuck off, it's shit. I'm really sorry, but I've looked at your video and all I can see is this.
Yeah.
And not what you're saying. Like the one I got sent, somebody walking down a corridor, turning around a corner and going up. And you know when you walk, you create a through draft, a backdraft.
Yes.
Ooh, sweaty armpits. Ugh. Anyway, they walk down, and where the security camera was, they walked down and up. And, and it literally, the dust had come out behind them. You could see it was dust. You could see it.
Because it swells as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you turn around corners and do all sorts.
It took a while to settle down. It did take a while to settle down, but you could see it was the dust. You could see it was settling down. And I think there was like 2 insects in there. You could see, if you look properly, you can see there are insects. Yeah. And I told them this. They were mental. Absolutely mental. And it's the amount of people who sent me videos, and I say to them, well, I'm afraid it's this, and it's not this, it's not that. I now go mental, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm doing, it's this and it's that. How do I call myself paranormal investigator? I'm like, mate, I've done it for like nearly 30 years. You know,
I've actually taken a photograph of a moth. I actually sort of went to lean on a window ledge. I had no window. And I disturbed a moth, and it sort of took flight, and it took flight as I took the picture. And you see, like, it's got a main rod in the middle, but it's got a swirl around.
You sure it was a rod?
It looks.
A happy moth. Was it a happy moth?
It looks like Helter Skelter. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I showed that picture to someone, and they went, "Oh, well, you've got a picture of a portal." I went, "No, it's a moth." "Oh, it's a portal." "No, it's a moth." I wouldn't have it.
Hello.
It's a moth. I was there when I took it.
It annoys me.
You know,
it annoys me.
Proper investigation. 90% of all the investigations. Sometimes the only thing you'll catch is a cold.
Do you know what I've said to people over the years? The thing you've got to remember is that it's disappointing when you look at a bit of evidence you think could be a possible bit of evidence and you debunk it, but it's also exciting. Because it leaves you with anything that you can't explain. There's your golden ticket.
See, the thing is, like, it's this table moving thing, right?
I know what they're talking about.
I know you're talking about, but you have to. You have to really trust.
Why?
The person.
Why do you come and sat right underneath the table and decided you're going to fart again?
Who's that ghost?
Yeah. She's got, ever since those bloody kids poisoned her and we nursed her back to health, she's now got an allergy to pretty much every food. So
bless her.
She has to have special tails food that's made for her, doesn't contain this. And she, like Titbits, you can't give her Titbits. You can't give her dog treats. You can only give her, like, chappy little tiny bonios.
That's her stomach otherwise.
Yeah. But literally, she'd be banned by the Geneva Convention, and the Germans in the Second World War would be trying to use
gas mask, yeah. But the thing is, with table tipping and Ouija boards, you have to trust the person that you're doing it with 100%. And the only person I trust to do something like that, because I've worked so long with him now, is Dan. And Dan, it was so funny, he was accusing me of moving it. And I said,
do you know what? It was the point where I couldn't find the words.
I said, Dan, open your eyes and look down. I didn't even have my hands on it, and it was moving on its own. And Dan went, I said, got to stop now.
What happened when I lifted my hand off it, Viv? Because I thought, hang on, what happened? I lifted my hand off it, and the fucking thing was still moving, wasn't it?
Moving on its own.
And I went, that's enough. I've had enough of that. I'm not going near that again.
He said, I'll put it away. And I went, okay, then, Dan, and I'll put it away. I'm thinking, is he mad? We should have done a bit more with this because it's moving on its own without us touching it.
I think one of the good things about myself in the paranormal world is because I've got a very analytical mind. I'll always
you have to.
Look, you can't just go,
you have to.
And it's was it Sherlock Holmes said, when you've taken away everything,
what you're left with is your answer.
Yeah. Well, again, I've been on investigations where I've seen the Ouija board used. I've done it myself. Not particularly a fan of it because I know what can happen if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
But one thing that really pissed me off, I will not mention names or places because I'm friends with this person. Doing a Ouija, I've done Ouija boards with them before. It's always been good. There was one particular investigation I went on, and there was a Ouija board done. There was only a couple of people on it, and I was watching them, and it was being led.
Yeah,
and it was being led by one person, and it completely made me go, "Oh, mate, why?"
Do we know this person?
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Because I know somebody who does that,
and it really. Because I joined in and put my finger on it, and you could feel it was being led. You could feel somebody was moving it. And the other person that was there was hardly touching it. But the other person, And I was
do you
like,
think
seriously?
do you think it's annoying when you're trying to investigate the place with the ghosts of the place, but then when Ouija boards and other things come into play, it's all about personal readings and it's all about the individuals and not about the place.
It does.
It takes it away from it, doesn't it?
It does. When Ouija boards are used, you'll find that the person, if it's a proper one and the people doing it really, really know what they're doing, it's always whoever is on the other side will focus on that one person because that's the only person who can hear them or whatever, Unless, of course, you get somebody who goes, "Oh my God, they've given me a bad vision," or some shit like that,
Yeah.
Like when people start doing that, mate,
it spoils it, doesn't it? Really.
I was never a big fan on Ouija boards, purely and simply because they can be manipulated, whether it's idiomotor movement or whether it's somebody intentionally doing it and knowing that they're doing it. I've always felt like that, and I thought I've never had really enough. Apart from you, I've never had enough trust in anybody to say, right, okay, is it doing it? It's doing it on its own, or it's not. And when we experimented with it, and it did that, it was the first time I could put my hand up and go, you know what? There's clearly something to these things.
He's scared. He shit himself.
First time.
Put it away. Not time. He said, no. He goes, that's really bad.
But if you remember, Viv, do you remember I said to you prior to that, I said, I'm getting horrible visions put in my head.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
and that's what put me off. It was the thought, these visions I was getting prior to it moving on its own. And I thought to myself initially, because you got to be pragmatic and you got to be clinical. And I thought to myself, I'm just imagining this and I'm winding myself up. And then all of a sudden it started moving on its own. And I thought, no, this is clearly something going on here.
Well, see, we didn't have blindfolds, so we shut our eyes and I looked away like this.
And we both looked the other way, didn't we? And we had somebody there arbitrating it, didn't we?
I had because I had arm ache. I stopped. I just took my hand
you kept touching something, and then you ended up with arm ache. And Dad said when he took his hand off, it was still moving.
Yeah.
But I took my hand off, and I was looking at Dan doing it, and then Dan lifted his finger.
He just full of a double entendres, you two. I'm sorry tonight.
He lifted his finger up. It was still moving, and he was blaming me for it. And I said, "Wait!" I said, "Dan, open your eyes."
Hello, Sir Wayne.
Hello, Wayne.
I'm back.
The maggot is back.
I'm no longer a floating head.
I preferred you in the dark. No, it was more mysterious.
Mysterious.
The gatekeeper returns. There you go.
There he is.
That's the floating head we've come to love.
What was the other one? Games Master. That was the other floating head, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or it was Holly from Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that.
But Holly was female, then turned male.
All right.
What you want?
All right.
Hello, Dave.
I'll go now then, July.
What we were saying about the Ouija boards and that, I prefer using EMF, making sure everybody's got the phones on airplane mode, and then using EMF because I've done some investigations where it's been used intelligently.
Yes.
I've done it myself. Got to use it intelligently. So
yes,
Ouija boards can be led.
You know what? I was with Dawn actually. We did an investigation at a pub over in Harpenden, and we set it down. We made sure nobody had a phone on them, and we got the K2 at the time. And this thing was having a proper conversation with us. They're all dead, Dave. Oh yeah, they're all dead, Dave.
He always sounded like he had a cold, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Oh, he was a comedian, wasn't he? A stand-up comedian.
Yes.
Very deadpan.
And then the girl took over, didn't she? She was good as well, wasn't she?
Patty Hayridge.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I don't know what happened to her. She's not about anymore, is she?
I think she's still alive. I don't know. But,
a lot of them go to directing and stuff, don't they? I think a lot of them go to sort of doing stuff in the background, don't they, rather than front at the screen.
I know that Cat, the guy that played Cat, Danny
John Jules.
He's got pink leathers and a pink motorbike.
It's brilliant. Is he gay? Is he? I didn't know. Is he gay or?
It looks bloody ridiculous. Pink motorbike.
Funny though.
And then other colour leathers, but not all pink. It's just, even for a girl, like it's just like really, it's too much.
He went on Marion, didn't he? Hey, Marion and their Merry Men. Yeah. He was on that, wasn't
he? Yeah,
that's right.
He did a lot of work for CBBC, the CBBC, didn't he?
He was funny, or he is funny.
There you go. Have you noticed that tonight? Whenever you get us on, we talk about pretty much every single aspect of the paranormal and poo-poo a lot of it, and then go, you're wankers, shysters. TV.
Yeah. Oh, met Hattie a few years ago. Skeggy's such a lovely woman.
Hattie. I know Patty Jakes. Was a bit before his time.
What, Carl?
Patty Jakes. Yeah, he's not that old.
Hattie Jakes.
She was the big one in.
She was in the Carry-Ons and stuff.
Yeah, she was. She was also in a TV series, wasn't she?
With that comedian.
She's done. She was with Sykes.
Russ Abbott.
No, that was what's her name, wasn't it? That was. That's it. She was with Eric Sykes.
Yeah.
In Sykes, which was an old 70s sitcom, wasn't it?
All these things that we're talking about, and I can remember watching as a young kid.
I love them.
Have you got Sky Television?
I have a thing that allows me to watch.
Okay. There's a program called a channel called That's TV, and they're doing reruns of In Sickness and in Health.
Oh, really? Do you remember when they did, was it In Sickness and Till Death Us Do Part? And
yeah, that one as well.
Because he was bigoted and sexually bigoted, they got him a gay black home help, and he was
That's right.
Yeah. They're showing.
I watched one the other day.
The whole series from the first one.
Yeah.
I watched one the other day, and his wife had just died in it.
Yeah.
And he's gone into the little Indian shop. Little Indian bloke's gone, oh, Mr. Garnett. He said, oh, I'm so sorry about your wife. Such a lovely lady. He said, she was such a good customer. He said, I really miss her. And he kept on and on and on. He went, all right, mate. He went, she was my wife. He went, and I don't miss her as much as you. He went, what's going on there? He went, well, she did owe me a little bit of money when she went. And it was all he was trying to do was get her to pay for the papers that she'd had before she died.
Yeah. Oh. No, it is a really good show. I've been watching them. So they're showing Benny Hill. They're showing all sorts of things on there. So if you know what? 70s.
I love Benny Hill.
I watched an episode. I watched some of it. I couldn't watch much of it. And it was Love Thy Neighbour.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched about 5 minutes and I thought, actually, look at that.
You couldn't do that these days.
That's too much for me. That's really too much for me.
It was a bit, wasn't it?
Oh, at the time, you don't see it, do you, when you're a kid and that? You don't see it. But looking back on it, you think,
Mind Your Language was another one. Mind Your Language. When you had
out the back.
When you had the Sikh having a go at the Pakistani.
One was Muslim, one was Sikh, wasn't it?
I can only remember some mothers do have them.
Oh, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
Spencer.
Right. Yeah, no. Are we going to bring the show to a close soon?
I think we shouldn't we now? We've nearly,
been on for an hour and a half already.
Lovely.
I did warn you if you get us on here. I told you.
It's gone so quick. Because it's been fun.
Quick questions.
Oh, what I was trying to say about EVP is that you can put noise-cancelling headphones on and a blindfold. Someone else, we do that and listen to the answer. Yeah, we do that, Eric. It's good.
And especially when in Wales, when Dan has to put on the Welsh accent to get any responses.
That was weird, wasn't it?
We've been doing that our last two investigations for Truth Beyond Paranormal. We did Aylesbury.
It worked, didn't it?
And we did the Red Lion Hotel in Colchester. And we did that experiment in both locations, and we got some really good stuff come back through.
And that was one of the funniest programs. I used to sit there and I couldn't breathe. I laughed so much at that Operation Good Guys. It was one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen.
No, the funniest comedy I've ever seen was when I was out on a ghost hunt with you, Dan, and we went to a place in Skegness. Best comedy I've ever seen.
What was that?
In many ways, the best comedy I've ever seen was a real live action drama with Dan in Skegness.
In Skeggy.
Talking to somebody that wasn't there.
Skegness seems to be coming up a lot lately.
Do you know what? When we was in Skegness, now this is, how weird is this? When I went to America 3 years ago, it was no, it was last year was the centenary. There was a celebration for the remembrance of Pearl Harbor. Okay, when I was there the year prior to that, I kept getting these 20-cent coins with Hawaiian Pearl Harbor on it. Then when I went to the village church farm with you guys, I was drawn to a blue folder, picked it up, opened the folder, and it was all about the photographs of the bombing of Pearl Harbor as it happened, right? And then I spoke to William in the week this week. I think it was Monday I spoke to William, and he said, you do realise it's the anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It was at that time of year again. And I'm thinking, well, why is Pearl Harbor resonating with me every time of year when that seems when the anniversary happens? I happen to be seeing Pearl Harbor. And I said, oh, it must mean that there's a sign being given to me. I need to go for a holiday in Hawaii. Are you coming, William? I said, we'll have to go to Pearl Harbor. Maybe I have to be there. I don't know. Yeah. But I thought that was another synchronicity that happened in Skegness. But again, Pearl Harbor, it was just...
Can I ask you guys something? When you do a Bigfoot thing in the UK, can I come along? And
yeah, of course.
You coming, Wayne?
Skill to do one of them. I've always wanted.
Depends where it is.
Come with us.
Wayne, you come with us, wouldn't you?
I would, depending on where it is and when.
Well, we'll have to camp over.
Yeah, you got to remember, I've got 4 kids to look after.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I have a missus in a tent.
You're missing a tent.
Missus in a tent. I don't even have a tent. I'll just get in Dan's. And kick him out. So Dan, you're sleeping in the car.
Is there a child there humming or something?
Oh, thank God for that! I can hear it, and I'm like,
no, it's my daughter Chloe. She does that.
Oh,
it's quite sweet, actually.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's sweet.
Yeah, she's to my left, playing around with some glow sticks at the moment.
Excellent. I like Ellen's makeup work. She's absolutely fantastic and spot on with her makeup techniques and everything. Honestly.
Yeah, good old Violet LeBonc. She won't be around that often.
No, but even if she was to do makeup on girls' faces that are going out and doing do's or whatever, I think she'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, we're in trouble now.
You know what we need to do at Skeggy one day? We need to do a Miss Paranormal where the blokes get done up, get makeup put on, and you lot judges.
A Dragonormal event.
What Dragonormal?
Yeah. Where the women can be men and the men can be women.
Yeah.
Or we just do Vickers and Tarts.
Okay. No, Dragonormal.
Dragonormal be funny.
Vickers and Tarts is so overdone now. I think we need to change things.
Dragonormal's got to be it, isn't it? It's got to be a Dragonormal.
Yeah. We'll get those big drag queens to come down and judge it. You know, from the big drag club.
We'd do it. It'd be a laugh.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, Mark's like, no, you ain't get me near that.
Yeah, but even the women can get dressed up in drag.
But I ain't fucking dressing up.
I'll be honest with you, Viv. There's enough women in the paranormal.
Why? Because I'm gorgeous enough without the makeup, thank you.
I'll be honest, present company accepted. There's enough women in the paranormal that look like fucking drag queens.
From, being a welder.
Do you know a few women that look like drag queens, Dan?
They're all in the paranormal. Fucking dragon queen.
Kylie, what have you got to say about that? Kylie, come on, stick up for us
Kylie
here.
doesn't. Kylie's lovely.
That's I kept hearing it because I've got the speakers on. I was like, I don't know. It would take a lot of persuading to get me to do it. It would take a lot of persuading.
Yeah, some men are like that.
But I was already sort of wanting to know what I'd be like. I always wanted to know what I'd look like without freckles. And the only way I'll be able to know how to look like without freckles would have been by putting foundation on.
To hide them.
So Ellen just said, well, why don't we just go for the full drag over and do that? So we did.
The thing is, though, Wayne, you look too good as a woman. That was the problem.
I thought
no, not you, Annette. You're lovely, not you.
Some of those pictures, though, they were using filters as well.
Yeah.
But
any of you had any strange voices or music come through Bluetooth speakers?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Occasionally, yeah.
I'll tell you what I had come through my phone doing the phone experiment. I had a gentleman's voice, a TV on behind in the background, and he turned the volume up and down and switched channels on command.
Do you know what? Next time we come on, we'll have to play a bit for people.
That'd be good.
So they can experience that audio that you've got. We'll have to play a bit for people so they can experience how you. The only way I can see it is you commune with another spirit, or with a spirit. I can't find any other answer for it. There isn't any other answer for it, is there?
I need lip filler then. So do I.
When I went and visited the Acropolis a few Christmases back.
You're not Annette.
Because my sister lives in Corfu, and they went over to Athens. So we met 1 year over at Athens, and we spent Christmas. We left Athens and then made it back to Corfu for Christmas. And while we were there, we went around the Acropolis.
Nice.
And we were in an area called St. Peter's Mount. And it was a big pile of rocks. It was like a hill full of rocks right next to the Acropolis area. And while we were all standing there, no word of a lie, I could hear what sounded like about 4 or 5 trumpets all playing the same sort of fanfare. And it was literally like a fanfare. And we all started looking around, expecting to see some typical Greek people playing trumpets. But there was nobody there. There was no one there with any sort of instruments whatsoever. And I turned around to him, like, did you hear that?
Girl, Kylie.
They went, yeah, we heard the trumpets. Well, where was it coming from? We spent 10, 15 minutes looking all around the area for these trumpets. Could not find them anywhere.
We hear the trumpets here at night quite often.
It started again the other day, didn't it? It's in England somewhere. Somebody heard it. Yeah.
You normally hear them here when Rachel's here, generally after a roast dinner.
Got a fanfare for a roast dinner.
Every once in a while, if the wind is going in the right direction, we do hear bagpipes. And that's because there's a guy lives over side of Colchester, and he was banned from playing the bagpipes in his house. So he was told that the council banned him from playing the bagpipes at home. So he goes over to the local country park and practices the bagpipes there. And if the wind is blowing in the right direction, it brings the sound this way. You can hear them.
You can hear it, yeah.
It's quite bizarre because all of a sudden you just hear this bagpipe music and you're like, where's that coming from?
Cliff, if you have anything that you want anyone to have a look at, either send it to the Dark Mirror boys or send it to the Simply Spooky team. We'll always have a look for you. So
definitely.
It's not a problem.
Love analysing EVPs.
Pictures. All sorts.
Yeah, I mean, we had a few last week because not Saturday gone because that was Skegness, but the week before I was at Harwich Redoubt Fort with a team called Paracon, and we did a lot of EVPs there, and the majority of them kept saying, "Get out, leave. We don't want you here." And that was the first. And I've investigated Harwich Redoubt a number of times. And we've never had anything like that come through. Then all of a sudden, we get saying to get out. We don't do it.
I've had at Harwich, what they call an AVP. That when I was doing some film work, and I was completely on my own, right at the very top, and everyone else was out in the tea room. The door was shut because it was cold, and I was there on my own, just my torchlight, my camera, just talking to myself, like filming as you do. And you hear it so clearly and in the distance. Fire in the hole. Like somebody screaming it. Fire in the hole.
Okay.
And I came, and I heard it with my own ears, and I recorded it. And I went downstairs into the tea room, and they're all sitting there having bacon rolls and drinking tea. And I said to him, "Any of you lot fucking about and shouting fire in the hole, you know?" They're going, no, why would we do that? We're too busy stuffing our faces. Like, do you want something to eat? You know, they thought I was on a wind up. But I thought that was quite an amazing catch. One of the best AVPs I've ever got. But
it's also quite shocking that when you actually do the recording and you don't hear it at first, and you don't hear it as it happens, but when you play it back, you're sitting there listening to it, and you hear your voice asking a question, and then it goes dead quiet, and then all of a sudden it will say yes or and you think, whoa, hang on a minute, I don't remember hearing that.
The best EVPs,
you heard it there and then, it's different.
The best ones, as when I say EVPs, I'm not talking Spirit Box, none of that. Actual voice recordings, proper EVPs. The best ones I've ever heard is when they're swearing at you.
I used to have that a lot, didn't I?
Crack me up. I got called a cock once. It was shut up, you cock. That's what I heard. What?
Was it a Londoner?
It must
Sounds
have been.
like it, doesn't it?
Must have been. He went, shut up.
Farmer talking to his chicken.
You cock.
It was me. I was there.
I thought, I was like a bit perturbed, like, I haven't got a cock. It's like, what are they talking about?
I think that the disembodied voice that I had, we never called it on EVP because we were looking around, we were going round and we were looking at the way that the whole place was set up before we set our cameras up. And it was Bodmin Jail. And we were right down in the cellars of Bodmin Jail, and it was only us in there. And we walked round into the cellars, like down on the ground floor where the cells were. And there was one cell, and it was particularly dark, but it was closed off. You couldn't get into it, but you could sort of look over and stick your head in. And so it was pitch black. And I thought, I wonder what that is. So I stuck my head in. And as I pulled my head out and then just went walking, it was a woman's voice, and it was like a Cornish dialect. And it was, what do ye want? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Right? And I looked at the guy. Well, actually, the guy was next to me, looked at me. I looked at him. Another guy came round from the other side and went, did you just hear that? And then the girl who was visiting, the girl was investigating, went, I've just heard that. And it was that audible. It could be heard by everybody. But the weird thing about it was...
Hang on, I've got to turn this off. I can smell burning.
The weird thing about it was that the voice didn't come from any particular place. It just came from everywhere. And it was weird. You couldn't pinpoint where it was left, right, behind, in front. It was just everywhere. And it was the most freaky thing.
Hello. I do.
But as for EVPs, yeah, the best EVPs I think I've ever caught were at Codner Castle, actually. There's a couple of good ones there over the years.
No doubt we'll get more.
I think, quite frankly, you need to have us on again, and we can talk more about all the crap we've been talking about.
Definitely.
When do you want to come on?
Anytime you like.
Okay, I'll send you some dates over. You can pick a date.
No problem. Because I'm going to have to bugger off in a second because I've got to be up early for work tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
I gotta get son number one and daughter number one to bed.
Good luck with that one.
Nah,
sorry, that's made me laugh. Sorry, Annette. Annette Locke, I did a Spirit app. I said, what did Laurie call me? It said, see you next Tuesday.
That's funny. Do you know, don't be taken in by Annette. She's very dirty.
I've got one, Kylie.
Filthy. She's a potty mouth. I'm only joking, Annette.
They always are. The ones that look innocent, they're always the worst. Look at Rachel.
I've got one of them, Kylie.
Well, you're going to bring it at the weekend so we can play with your box.
Yeah. I'm going to bring quite a bit of kit this weekend. You are definitely not, Annette. You are definitely not.
She's my favourite because she swears. I love it when other people swear.
Do you know what, Cliff? I used to work with a guy, and he wanted to do to EVPs you couldn't understand. He tried slowing it down and playing them backwards, and a lot of the weird thing was that the questions that we'd asked, you would get the answers if you played it backwards in slow motion. You would then be able to pick out each syllable. It was a phenomenal way of doing it. Yeah, I will, Kylie. No problem.
Cool. Right, so we've got no more to say. We shall end
we got
it
plenty
here.
to say, but you ain't got enough time for it.
No, we'll do it again next time. We'll get you on soon as well. So
Yeah,
I've got to get me ugly sleep anyway.
I do have one question before we go.
I've overdone it on ugly sleep. Look,
Takes a lot to maintain this ugliness.
Mark, you're doing the 50 questions.
Yeah.
Can we have questions that were written for school children?
when she says school children, she means primary.
12-year-olds.
You mean you wanted to get easy questions?
Yeah, because the easy questions are the hardest.
I will have a look, see what I can get.
There you go.
But it won't be on the paranormal because I always make sure it's not about the paranormal. Because otherwise everybody be getting top marks. So it's like normal questions. No. And you have to have a drink whilst you're doing it.
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I can muster up a drink. I've got a whole cupboard full of alcohol.
More than one, though, I hope.
Yeah, I think Rachel's going to be here as well.
Excellent.
She may be sat beside me doing the questions with us, but she'll be here as well.
Good.
Cool.
So, yes, that's not this Friday. That's next Friday's Dark Mirror Show. Dark Mirror Radio Show.
And don't forget, this Friday at 9 o'clock on the Dark Mirror Show is a normal show.
9:30, yeah.
9:30.
9:30,
Okay.
yeah. Normal show where we'll be coming up saying all about the events that have happened in the last 7 days of UFOs and cryptids and this, that, and the other, and we'll be slating the bobberments and all the crap that they're coming out with at the moment.
Yeah.
Normal show.
Yeah.
Normal show, yeah. Brilliant. I'll tune in.
I look forward to that. I'm definitely tuning in on Friday.
This is why not a lot of people, I mean, I don't get asked on shows that much because I think people are afraid of what I'm going to come out with, you know. But I do behave myself on other people's shows generally.
We don't need to on here.
I have a lovely singing voice when I'm drunk. I could do karaoke, no problem.
I'm one of them people that thinks that I've got a good singing voice, whether I'm sober or pissed. And I haven't.
Yeah, if I've ever drink anything.
So we will be back I might be back on Friday night for a little while with Bri, with the Frighteners. Depends if I can get my packing done on time. So Friday night, if we do, it will be from 8 o'clock for an hour. Then you have the Dark Mirror Radio Show at 9:30.
Right.
I know that we are on next Tuesday on Things Network. We are talking about angles.
Angles of the Lord, 90 degrees and all that.
Yeah. Angles and angels.
Angels, yeah.
We talk about angels, yeah.
And we don't know what I can't even remember who we've got on next week. Must be somebody good. You remember?
I have no idea, no.
No, it's not as exciting as these two guys.
No.
Not
every show can be a winner, as they say.
Not every show has a dog farting all the time. So.
We will catch you next week, guys. You take it easy, whatever you're doing. And
have a good weekend, a good week, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye all. Bye.
See ya.